Hey everybody, thanks for listening to another AOQ episode. So, on the last AOQ episode, I get so excited to record these because they're just fun, free. We have a guest on and everything, and I'm like, I always tell the guest beforehand, I'm like, okay, we're gonna take a break right here because that's like where I put in the ad, and then I told this guest the same thing, and I was like, I totally forgot. We just started talking, and that's how it happened. So yeah, that's how I'm recording this thing right now and putting it at the front and then putting the ad right there. And then you can just get on with the episode. I was really excited to do this episode. This person that we have as a guest has been my hero for a very long time. Just like, aside from the nerdy stuff, just like as a bassist, as an artist, like as a musician, as a punk, like I just, man, oh my god, I'm done. I love you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I'm not even gonna say what it is. I'm just gonna let you listen and you'll just hear it. It's fucking amazing. I was so happy to do it, and I can't wait till he hears this. It's gonna be amazing. So thank you so much. But yeah, I had to record this thing so I could put the anchor ad in here. I forgot to in the fucking episode. But yes, thank you so much. I hope to do more of these quarantine episodes to give you guys extra content. At least it's a whole other extra episode that you guys can listen to besides the regular podcast and the newscast. And Dannie and Nick are going to be guesting on some other pods, and so they'll direct you to those pods as well. And there's some other pods that are mentioned like towards the end of this episode from the guest, so you guys can go check those out too. Hopefully that'll give you more stuff to listen to, more stuff to do. I hope to bang out more AOQs next week as well. So thank you for listening. I love you guys. Links.animesummit.net. You can find everything right there. All the links to YouTube where you can listen, and patreon.com/anime summit. You can become a patron today. For those of you who are becoming patrons during this pandemic, I really appreciate it. I love you so much for doing so. Thank you. That being said, here is AOQ episode 2 from Anime Summit Podcast.
He's freaking out that Henry Cavill, not only, was he into The Witcher, and like everyone was like shocked that he loved those books, but he's like apparently painting his own Warhammer army, and they're like, how does this happen? And it's like, because they're nerds. Like, yeah, okay.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Anime Summit Podcast, and we're here for another AOQ episode, help you through quarantine. I'm your favorite host, Tom the Bomb, and with me always is Dannie.
Hello guys.
And Nick is absent today. He kind of wanted this week off of recording. So, like, in this episode we're doing right now is kind of last minute put together. But I have a very special guest here. He is one of the founders and the bassist of the band Tsunami Bomb. And it's Dominic Davi. What's up?
Hey, how's it going?
Oh, my God.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for doing this.
I'm excited.
Yeah, because, like, I know you're really busy right now, and it's just like, I mean,
it's worth it.
Decently busy even with the quarantine. And
I have a way of, busyness has a way of finding me, but this is worth it. I'm very excited. So thank you for having me.
Can I tell this story? Let me tell the story. Okay, I'll tell you the story. This is like probably like last year sometime, like before, it was like right when the Spine That Binds dropped, which is your latest record, right?
Yes.
Yeah, from Tsunami Bomb. And on Facebook, like, Gabe replies to everybody. So, like, or not Gabe, but Dominic replies to everybody.
I was going to say, like, Gabe replies to you? That's amazing. Our drummer replies to everyone? Where? When? He doesn't even return my texts. What are you talking about? I was going to be like, will you ask him if he can practice? No, I was going to, like, send him a message for me.
Just comment on a random photo. It's like, hey, by the way, Gabe, Dominic's looking for you. No, yeah, Dominic replies to everybody, and I jokingly commented once and said, you should be on my anime podcast. And he replied to it and was like, yeah, dude, send me the link. And then the other day, it was like last week, you were doing a live stream. You were going to get on with Oob, I think.
Yeah.
And
it was
then
like a
before
mess.
you switched to Instagram, I was like, hey, really quick before you go, you want to be on my anime podcast? And you were like, Sam, message me right now. And I was like, no way. So then I did a couple days later, and that's how that went down. And now we're here, and I'm peeing my pants a little bit. So.
Well, you definitely picked the right member of the band to talk to about anime. So I was like, very like, yes. I want to talk about
awesome.
this. I would love to talk about this. So, yeah. But yeah. So I was thrilled. Like, because all I saw was like, you want to be on an anime podcast? Yes.
Is that even a question?
Do you want
dude.
It's like you're asking me, like, do you want to throw shade on musicians and gossip? Yes, I do. I do want to do that. I do want to be snarky.
Oh my god. Sam and I just gossip all the time.
Yes,
It's no joke.
I'm the worst about stuff I like. Like, I'm even like terrible. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. Do you love them?
No,
I love them so
this is
much,
perfect.
but I don't know what they were thinking.
If you're a talker, that's like a plus for me and Danny. Like, that's...
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll spill the tea and throw the shade. I have no problem with that.
Hey.
Library can be as
God.
open as you want it to be. Like, no, I'm not going to be that mean.
So, like, I mean, it was perfect because also, like, a lot of people, like, especially a lot of people in rock bands, I want to say more so people in punk rock bands, are really into nerdy stuff, for sure. And metal bands and punk bands, the members are always super nerdy. And, like,
Yeah.
Dominic is, I think, exceptionally nerdy. And
I think I'm very open about it. I'm just a little bit
he's
more...
he's super open, and he can talk more about that in a little bit about his band and how that stems with anime and stuff. But I'll say for me, the way I discovered Tsunami Bomb was kind of an intersection of anime as well, because like I thought it would be interesting to talk about the intersectionality of punk and goth culture and alternative culture with anime with Dominic, because he's on the road, he sees that stuff all the time. And for me, it was, and I don't remember what magazine it was. You have to forgive me. I don't know. I know it wasn't Game Informer, but it was a game magazine. And inside of it, they would give you a little PlayStation 2 demo disc.
Oh, right on.
And I put that demo disc in because obviously I wanted to play it. I'm a fucking kid. I want to play all kinds of shit. And there was some demos, and then there was a bunch of trailers. That's how all video game demo discs works. You know what I mean? There's a bunch of trailers and a few demos. One of the trailers was for a game called Disgaea Hour of Darkness. And for those of you who have never heard of Disgaea, it's a great tactical RPG series. I highly recommend you play it. The trailer, one of the things that Disgaea markets itself on is the ridiculous moves you can do with each character in class. So that trailer was literally just people doing moves the whole time, and it was a Tsunami Bomb song called The Invasion from Within. And that's how I heard you guys the first time, was watching that trailer on that PS2 disc. And I think I still have that disc somewhere in my video game collection because of it. Yeah, it was like, so, and then for Christmas that year, I asked for that game because that's when it was coming out. And I got it, and I think I beat it in like a few months. But not only was it in the trailer, it's actually in a couple boss fights, which I don't know if... Did you ever play that game?
I did play the game, but I never got to the boss fight. Like, that was like they sent me a copy of the game, and then I started playing it. And then I think I went on tour, and then I come back, I start again, and I'd be like, oh, I think I have to start over. Like, I think I've started that game like 4 times, 5 times,
I hate
just
I hate
trying.
it when that happens.
Yeah.
I hate it.
It just came to me right at a time when I was like touring a lot, and then, having to move and stuff, ended up getting packed up. But I still have the copies of the game and stuff, but... Yeah, I was
like
stoked.
that. It's by Nippon Ichi Software, so like all their games are the designs of the characters in the worlds are very anime. It's all anime. You know what I mean? It's a Japanese company, and so like there is even a Disgaea anime, which is it's okay. It's not very good, but the first boss fight where the song comes on is you fight this vampire named Madaris, which is like just perfect for that song because like he's a vampire, he's very dark, and the song itself is very like it's got heavy organs in it, and it's like really fast, and it's like Castlevania sounding, so that's kind of like how that intersected with me. So ever since then I've been in love with Tsunami Bomb. They're one of my favorite bands to this day.
Thank you.
Yeah, so
It's
so
funny.
I love that shit. Yeah.
It's funny how that happened because it's very similar to our interaction where somebody was like, I think at the time our manager was like, we got an email about somebody who wanted to know if Tsunami Bomb wants to be the soundtrack of a video, and I was like, yes.
Yep.
And they're like, what? Like, wait, I haven't finished. I was like, okay, finish. A video get yes. And they're like, I haven't said it. I was like, you're about to say video game. And they're like, yeah. And
It's like, I already know, so like, just
you don't even
get
know
on
what it's
with
about.
it.
I was like, all right, tell me what it's about. It's like, it's based on a Japanese kind of style, anime
Yes.
style. Yes. And I was like, yes. I don't know why you're still waiting. Go
It's
tell
like,
them.
where's the contract? Let me sign it. God damn it.
Yeah, I was really excited when this came through, and at the time it looked like there was going to be a bunch more or stuff, but somebody at Atlas knew about us, and I guess going through the game, they're like, what would be perfect for this scene is this one song from this punk band, and they're like, there's no way we can get that, and they called us, and we were like, yes, you can. I'm all for this. When I saw the artwork, I was like, oh, this is right on point for us. I love
it's like this very bold, vibrant colored, kind of chibi character designs. Like the eyes are really big. I love it. It's like one of my favorite styles of art. Like in it's so good.
Totally. And I was just sitting there going like, okay, this is amazing. And it came out, and I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh, this is great. And it turned out to be a huge deal. Like, because not so much back then did we feel it. But I would say since the band's come back, I found out how many people learned about us through that video game. So that's amazing. And I just, it's like all the time, so many people talk about it. And I guess the company, like Atlas, was porting it for for America. So it wasn't on the original Japanese version. So I guess when they were going to report it, like, somebody had made some sort of announcement. Somebody asked, like, is the Tsunami Bomb song still on it? And they're like, oh, no, we couldn't get in touch with the band. And I was like, hell, you didn't try. Like, we're right here. Like,
yeah, they reported it for the PSP, and it was called Afternoon of Darkness. And then there's a version on Steam.
That's like goth polite, like an afternoon of darkness. With
goth polite.
It's like polite, an afternoon of darkness with polite goths.
Yeah.
Hi. Hail Satan,
Let's
welcome.
have some tea.
Hail Satan.
Hail Satan, welcome. Today we're going to talk about how to decorate your black dress.
Yeah.
I made doilies from this leather. Yeah, that's such a weird subtitle. Yeah, but they didn't ever ask us again. I don't think anybody was left to... I think nobody was left that even had any idea on how to reach us or what song they just didn't know. So they didn't even think about it. They just ported the Japanese version again without thinking. Then when people responded, I'm sure they would have if they'd have thought about it, but they were just like, oh, people cared about that.
They probably looked you guys up and then saw, oh, they broke up. Never mind. And then they just didn't even bother trying.
Maybe,
you know
maybe if that. I mean, there were ways to reach us, but it was sort of funny because I was just like, and it's hilarious because I wish that more people we would be all over video games if people want to ask. I was like, would love to hear more requests like that. I would do it. I'd be way interested.
Dude, that'd be so sick. That the moment when it happens is actually a pivotal part of the game. It's like chapter 7 or episode 7, I think it is in the game, and it's like this really big spot, and then the battle starts, and then the song starts, and it's like, oh
I think it would have been cool if they'd have done a lot more of dark punk and goth punk and industrial music on that video game. I think they would have had room for a lot of that on it. I don't know. I mean, I love when they do, a soundtrack, a symphony-esque soundtrack and stuff. Those are amazing. But I think there's a place for, in the right kind of games, that kind of that kind of music. So I don't know. Anytime I'd be interested in getting asked again for stuff like that. It'd be fun. I wish we got asked for more anime stuff. It would be my dream specifically to be the theme song of a season of anime. If I ever get we ever get a tap by Black Clover or My Hero Academia, I will literally die if they're
you guys hear that?
It's like, but I was
Funimation, Crunchyroll, do you hear that?
Yeah, we have it. We have the long intros. We have everything. It's all there. It's like I said, I kind of said before the break, I don't ever feel like people got the anime manga connection in the Tsunami Bomb name or what we were trying to go for originally. It just didn't. Nobody really. I don't think it was popular enough. But now that it's so popular, when we came back, there was this one specific tweet that came out where a girl was like, "Who's Tsunami Bomb and why does all their songs sound like anime intros?" And I was like, "Yes, finally, yes, they do, don't they? Long intros with big, huge build-ups and really intense breakdowns. Yes." So I was like, kind of laughing.
That's what you were kind of telling me earlier, like, because like before we started recording, we were talking about that, and it's like that the kind of sound that you guys were doing was like that kind of thing, was like anime theme music, kind of.
Well, yeah, I mean, we weren't really purposefully thinking anime theme music, but I was such a huge fan of anime and manga, and I was reading specifically at the time, back then, like I was reading like Ghost in the Shell, Appleseed, Dominion, like there were a bunch,
nice.
you know, Akira. I was like, there were so many that I was really, really into. And I was in a different band, and we played the show with, we played a show down in Southern California, and there was this other band playing, and they had these two Japanese women as backup singers and dancers, and they were so cool looking, and they were gorgeous, and they were so awesome. And then, like, after the show, I started talking to them, and it turned out they were from Japan, and they got like, they were friends with the singer, and they kind of were doing this tour and seeing America, and it was really cool. And I started talking to them about anime and manga. They were big fans, and video games, and I was like, oh my god, these girls are the coolest. And afterwards I was like, that's what made me think, oh, I want to name my band. I want my band to sound like it's an anime, a manga. I want it to sound like it's like this kind of particular comic book. And then I started running through all the Japanese words I knew, like trying to figure out like, how can I make this work? And none of them worked. And I was literally like doing like picturing in my head like, well, one word over here, and kind of spinning a dial and trying to put together some sort of combination to sound like, okay, I want to sound like a secret weapon or a big, you know, like something that just be incredibly destructive. And eventually I came on Tsunami Bomb, and I couldn't believe that I was like, that's got to be something. It turns out it was actually a secret weapon developed in World War II that was never really used, though a lot of conspiracy theorists think that it was, where they set off a bunch of atomic-level bombs under the ocean to create a giant tsunami that would hit a town and a port and wipe it out so that then the Navy can come in. And it was like a possibility of what they could do to Japan and how Australia and America could get into Japan and make a landing.
There was a big conspiracy about that most recent tsunami that demolished Japan like a few years ago. That there was like a big conspiracy about using that to do that to Japan.
Yeah, a lot of people. It's kind of funny seeing conspiracy theorists post about tsunami bombs, because they'll be like, let me tell you more about Tsunami Bomb, and you'll see somebody go like, the band, and then you'll see them like, no, not the band. And it's like, oh, Tsunami Bomb bumming out conspiracy theorists since 1998. like people are like, are you talking about the band? No, I'm not. Like I'm
gonna start doing that now, and I'm gonna go into like those Facebook groups and be like, oh, you mean the band? Like,
yeah, no. I've seen a couple snap responses of like, no, not the band. And but I didn't know about that. I mean, I just totally came to me. I was trying to picture in my head like this, like I almost initially pictured this whole adventure going on about, you know, the tsunami bomb. Like, and I thought, what is that? A ship? Maybe it's a spaceship, or maybe it's a weapon or something. And then when we started initially, all of us had code names, and the idea was that it would be this like crazy like superhero and like manga kind of style band where we'd all have these names. And so like Gabe Lindemann, our drummer, he was going by Gabriel 37, and you know, our first singer June went by like Madeline Rex, like kind of. And then like our keyboard player vocalist Courtney Foster, at the time, she was going by Oubliette Sparks, which that stuck. She's the only one whose name stuck. And then when Emily joined,
Agent M.
Yeah, it was Agent M that we named her. I was going to be Hero Zero, And because initially there was a lot of numbers starting to get tossed around, so I was going to be 0. I was going to be Hero 0. And like that was cheesy. It's been kind of used a ton. But nobody would ever buy into it. No one referred to me as that. No one even listened. They roll their eyes and be like, okay, Dominic Davi. And so like that was it. Like I could never, I don't know how Sting got it going, you know. I don't know how those like, you know, where the artists get a name, a nickname, and that becomes their thing. Like, I don't know how Prince, how that worked, because, like, nobody would call me
It's
that
weird because
name.
Agent M kind of stuck, too. Like, that's what I called her, like, you know, because I didn't know her real name, like, at all.
Yeah, Emily initially was very shy, especially joining Tsunami Bomb, and she was really, like, she would stand still, she didn't, like, move around a lot, she was really nervous, and, like, she sang kind of quiet, and, like, and it was kind of fun. Like, we were still doing the nickname thing, or trying to, and we thought it would be kind of fun to give her like this mysterious name, and she was into it because she dressed like a spy of the Halloween prior, and before she was in the band, and I was calling her Agent M. I was like, look at this Agent
awesome.
M here, and yeah, and then we thought like this will make her sound mysterious, but then it led to like rumors later because she'd go by Agent M, like her and Oubliette, their names stuck, but all the guys, their names just didn't work. Everyone. Brian always went by Brian Plink back then, but it just wasn't as a reference to Plinky, the band that he was actually in first. But like that wasn't part of our nicknaming thing. But it was just sort of funny because people would see like songs by, you know, and they would have all our names, but then there would be this E. Whitehurst, and everyone was like, Agent M doesn't write her lyrics, and I was like, you
yeah, that's right,
idiots.
yeah.
like, come on. Like, first off, a lot of us wrote lyrics, but she's a great lyric writer, and like, it was just hilarious because it would just say E. Whitehurst, and everyone would be like, Agent M's a fake. You know, like, we had a couple of those.
She's a phony.
Yeah, no, there was a few instances of those, and I was just like, whatever, you guys. But yeah, so when she joined as she was like the second lead vocalist.
Yeah.
She was, she took on Agent M, and that's where all that stuff comes from. It's from that time when, it kind of lingered for a while of having this, like, there was definitely a manga anime influence on Tsunami Bomb, especially in the beginning. But as years went on, it became less and less apparent. And then until now, when there's enough people into it, it used to be like me and my friends, and like nobody else like would get the references. But now actually people get it.
It's funny that you say that because like before I got into like punk rock or any kind of rock really when I was younger, all I was listening to before that was anime theme music. I'd have like mixed CDs of anime theme music and video game music. And
I still do that.
Yeah, no, I see that.
Let's be real.
I still do too, but like back then, that's all I was listening to. And then I heard Tsunami Bomb, and that was the first real like punk rock like band I got into. I wasn't into like Sum 41 back then or things like that. I was into Tsunami Bomb.
I think we have a unique sound back then and even today. That was actually also one of the reasons that we came back, is I was walking through Warped Tour in 2016, and I was like, dude, nobody sounds like us. Nobody sounds like the way we do or has kind of our hallmarks. Like, maybe there is still a place for this band, and we could continue like working towards the sound that we've always been working towards, because it's like nobody else is doing it. So
yeah. Well, as soon as like, because since I was living in New Jersey, and Bamboozle was a big thing in New Jersey. So, and 2007, 2008 were my high time, like prime of going to like seeing screamo bands and everything like that. But then it started to go downhill once like fucking Demi Lovato and Drake started headlining at Bamboozle, and it's all like, fuck, like, what is this bullshit? Like,
Drake.
Why are they taking all this stuff away from me? Like, this is not supposed to happen.
Could you imagine just like seeing Escape the Fate, and then right after that Drake going on there going, oh, I'm crying.
Like, it was terrible. I think 2008 Bamboozle, Snoop Dogg actually headlined one night.
Okay, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, I was completely fine with that, and he was great. Like, I've never went to a Snoop Dogg concert or anything like that until then. I was like, okay, I can vibe with this. Like, this is fine.
Right.
but then fucking Drake and Demi Lovato had to come in, and it's all like, why?
It's really funny because our listeners have been like
terrible.
wanting us to like kind of do a music episode. This is kind of it too, which is really perfect. Like,
Yeah.
Slightly, but not really.
kind of.
Yeah, I'm sure they want to really get into the different songs that come about on these shows. But I mean, I would love to do theme music for one. Oh my god, if they asked, that'd be so cool. I don't care what it would be. They could literally be. It could be a show about. You know, they make shows about anything. It could literally be about like competitive toe picking, and I'd be like, "All right, we'll do the theme song for it." And I'm in.
Dude,
I'm into it.
But
like,
you know what though? Let me tell you, because remember back then, when animes would come to America, and I wasn't alive when animes like Saint Seiya and them first came here, but when Saint Seiya first came here, they put Flock of Seagulls as the opening.
Yeah, that's funny.
And like now. And I can vouch for this because I do a newscast every week and I keep up on the anime news. There was this thing in the middle of last year, the new Prime Minister of Japan rolled out that Japan was going into a new era, and one of the big things he wanted to do was this thing called the Anime International something initiative, something like that, where he wanted to bring anime to more places around the world besides just like parts of Asia and America, North America. And it must be working because today, for the first time, I watched an anime that's based on a Korean manhwa.
Oh wow,
So-
that's different,
Yeah.
So,
it's called Tower of God.
Yeah, which it's based on a webtoon, a manhwa webtoon. And like, I mean, it could happen. Someone could approach Tsunami Bomb and be like, hey, more anime, more international, more opening.
Oh, dude, I have a friend that works at Crunchyroll, and I've already said, like, you have any time anybody says, this show needs new music. I was
Tell
like,
his ass, dude.
you
Tell
suggest Tsunami Bomb? And she was
I
like,
mean,
okay. I was like, I'm serious.
If the original like release for Evangelion can get Frank
new dub.
Sinatra for
Yeah.
the ending, I'm pretty sure they can get you.
Oh my god, dude.
They just have to
Well,
ask.
it was a cover of Fly Me to the Moon, but I mean, like, they still got the rights to it.
Yeah.
The new
They
the
didn't get-
new
they-
the
they
new
weren't
dub
at-
doesn't
yeah.
have it.
Yeah, they weren't
Right.
able to get the rights for it.
I'm
for
even
the
into
Netflix.
this new song for every season. I'm like, I'm living for it. All right, one day, one of these shows is going to need something. I'm ready. So
Yeah, it's like, season 5 of My Hero. Okay, let's do it.
Actually, afterwards, I did do that. I pulled the sound off of I think it was One Punch Man and My Hero Academia, and I put on a Tsunami Bomb song, 2 different Tsunami Bomb songs, to see how they lined up. And then I sent it to the band, and they were all like, "Oh my god, it's perfect!" Like
No
even the beats,
fucking way.
the beats were dead on. Like I did Take the Reins for My Hero Academia, and then I think I did a newer one for one of the new ones. I think I did like, what was it? It might have been for One Punch Man. It might have been Title or something. It was like one of the newer ones, and like it was just like beat for beat. Whenever there was something, there was like some hits in the drums. Like it lined up perfect, and I was like, "Oh my god, we are an anime intro band." Yes, it totally worked.
Tsunami Bomb is anime. Like,
Yeah, it's just like, oh
I
my
would-
god.
I would totally like to see kind of what they did with Carol and Tuesday, how they got
Oh, that's
English.
right, dude. Did you ever watch Carol and Tuesday?
I don't think I have. No.
Ooh.
Fam.
Okay.
Because this was a Netflix deal, so it was releasing weekly in Japan, but of course US Netflix, they want to wait till the whole thing's out before they give it to you.
Yeah. Right.
Carol
We
and
call it
Tuesdays
Netflix jail.
Yeah, we call it Netflix jail. It was in Netflix jail for a while. Carol and Tuesday's the new Shinichiro Watanabe show, which he did Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy
and-
Bebop and Samurai Champloo.
Oh
Space
god.
Dandy.
Yeah. Okay. I'm actually watching Samurai Champloo right now for the first time.
Yeah.
But I've
Nice.
always loved Cowboy Bebop. And I love this one. So I didn't know see, that's how out of it I've been. I didn't know that was
So
happening.
Kirill Tuesday is like it's like completely different than what he's done before, but like because it's more like a drama. But it's about this kind of rich girl who runs away from home because she like hates her life there, and it takes place on Mars, and where music is not done by real people, it's all done by virtual idols. So she takes her guitar and runs away to like the city, and she runs into this other girl busking on her keyboard, her like foldable keyboard, which is
She's
really
like a
cool.
street performer.
Yeah.
Oh, I heard about this. I didn't know this was it. I'm looking this up while I'm talking to you. I'm like,
They got Nye BRXX to like do one of the voices, and the other I forgot who does Carol's voice, but like a lot of producers who did like Beyonce beats and some other stuff, like really big stuff, were on it and did the music for it. So like think about that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
I want this guy to name my next band project. This guy's names are the best ever. Carol and Tuesday. Like these are great. These are great. These are I don't know. I'm just thinking about all of his series. Cowboy Bebop. That's like the best band name ever. I wish I would have thought of that. Cowboy Bebop.
There's actually a screamo band out there called See You Space Cowboy.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah, I like them a lot. But yeah, dude, you should watch it. Like it's a really easy watch too.
It is an easy watch. The English, the dub for it is fantastic. It meshes really well with Naya Bria XX and Selena Ann, who does who's the singing vocals for Tuesday. And so it's not like it's weird or anything, but like for the sub, they have Japanese speaking voice actors, but all the songs are in English. So like completely all the songs are in English. He didn't do any Japanese songs in the show, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And it's composed really, really well.
Yeah.
And every chance I get, I listen to it in my car or I'm in the shower. It's so good.
That's awesome. I'll definitely check that out. I'd heard about it, but I hadn't like gone to see it. I don't know why it fell off my radar, but you know how some things do. There's so many things, and you're like, you hear about something, you're like, oh, I'm gonna check that out, and then you just
gone.
Gone.
You're like, oh, that looks cool. Okay, I'll put that on my plan to watch list, and then you completely forget about it.
Sits on your plan to watch for 2 years or so. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So what are you watching right now? You're watching Samurai Champloo, and then I think you had said it the other day in our Discord, but like, what else are you watching?
Well, I'm watching Black Clover. I'm up to date on it. And then I'm watching, for a while it was great because I started that one, and I designed some t-shirts for Crunchyroll for Black Clover. And
ooh, nice.
And then I recently told him, I was like, hey, if you want some more t-shirts from Black Clover, I know a lot more about that show now. I'm ready. Like at the time I had never seen it when I designed the shirts, and they were like, yeah, there's got this guy Asta, and he doesn't have any magic, but everyone else has magic, but he's like the hero. And I was like, how is he doing anything? That doesn't make any sense. You just go around punching people? And she's like, kinda. And I was like, but then I finally saw it. I was like, oh my god, this is great. And I had saw there were like 100 episodes when I started. I was like, this is going to be fantastic. But now I'm finally caught up. But I went back and I'm watching Parasite because I've been meaning to watch that for a long time. I'm a big fan of Goblin Slayer, or is it Goblin Slayer?
Oh,
yeah. Goblin Slayer.
Yeah, it's funny how it gets real close to being a little inappropriate at times, and then it doesn't, especially in the manga. But then overall I do really love the show. I just started watching Inspector.
ooh.
Oh yeah, they just finished. Dannie and Nick just finished that one.
Yeah, and then I saw, while watching all these others, I saw advertisements for Dr. Stone, so I gave that a start, and I'm checking that out. And I'm also rewatching some of the really old Captain Harlock episodes, like the old series.
I gotta watch that again, dude. I haven't seen that in so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's very dated, but it's such a cool idea of this like one pirate who just doesn't give a fuck. You know, it's like, and that's really what it's about. And then I'm looking for new stuff. I fell in love absolutely 100%. Oh, and One Punch Man I love too, but I've really fell in love with Demon Slayer. Kimetsu no Yaiba. I hope I said that right.
Kimetsu no Yaiba.
I've never heard. I keep looking for places where people say it out loud, and I'm like, I have not heard this out loud. I don't want to mess up this name.
Google Translate will help you.
Oh, there you go.
It helps me all the time.
I really love.
I
that
butcher
one.
names really bad, and I actually have my own like language. It's Sam calls it Dannyism.
Dude, I have that too. My parents used to make fun of me all the time because I'd make up my own words for it, and then I've always read a lot, so but no one would pronounce these words for me, so I had these weird pronunciations that I had to just come up with. And I'm just notoriously terrible. I used to call a diplodocus dinosaur a diplodocus for some fucking reason. and I would lecture people about dinosaurs, and no one correct me because they wouldn't fucking know how to say it. And
so here we have the diplodocus.
But I mean, I mispronounced. When I mispronounce Japanese and Italian and any other languages that I know a little bit of, I totally just destroy English too. So I'm completely open-ended on my destruction of
English is so hard. I swear, it's really no joke.
No, and then they keep changing it, and it keeps evolving. So it's like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really fell in love with Demon Slayer in a big way just because of the nature of the emotional depth that they've stumbled on with this story. So I went and read the manga, and I'm just even more in love with it, of just how much heart that one has. Because some of these kind of they get I love them, but as I said, I'm gonna cast a little shade. It gets a little repetitive when you're every story is about some 15-year-old kid being awesome, usually a guy saving a girl, and then somebody who's 19 is old, and that 27-year-old is an old man. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing, Japan? What the what are you doing? Come on, I know that on some level some of these are for teenagers and kids, but on the other side I'm like, do we really, is it a running gag there that a 27-year-old is old?
Right.
You see some of the little things that I'm like, all right. And then, you see a little some of the subtle, sexism that happens in some of them, and I'm like, stop it. I watched the latest My Hero Academia movie, and I'm like, I know all those characters really well, but I can't help but notice, how come whenever something goes wrong, all the girls get assigned to medical duty, and they're not fighting, but all the dudes go fight, and then all the girls go pull everybody out of the rubble. I'm not saying that's not important, I'm just saying it happens every time.
Right. It's one of those things you notice, and you're just like,
Yeah. It's it's just sort of subtle, and you're just like, okay, and you see some of the things going she can't help it if she wants to get married. She hasn't gotten married and she's in her late 20s. I was like, stop it, Japan. Stop it. It's okay. That's funny.
I love Hiroshi, or his name, I forgot the guy, the mangaka who does My Hero. I love that he's included trans characters and African American characters, but then he'll do stuff like that without thinking about it, and it's just, which is it's not that big of a deal. I mean, but it's something to think about. Yeah.
Have you guys ever been to Japan?
I wish. No, not yet.
I went.
It has been my lifelong dream to go.
It just takes money, but yeah, it's. I went on tour. We got to tour Japan. Tsunami Bomb got to tour there, and we have an offer to go back. It's just trying to line everyone's schedules to go tour Japan. But it was amazing, and it was really interesting. I loved it, and when our guides and the people there found out that they're like, wait, you like Japan? And I was like, I do. And you know the history of Japan? I was like, I do. They're like, oh, and I was like, yeah. And I never paid for another drink. That was it. I was drunk the entire time with all of them, and they were like, this guy, and it was basically this American guy, he likes it here, and everyone's like, oh, welcome, I was like, I do. I'm having a great time, and it was but it's very interesting. You just see certain, it's easy. The culture that they have is an amazing culture with an ancient history, and their, the way their folklore plays into these shows that we all watch. Sometimes it's a little tricky. I don't think Americans always pick up on all of the little things that get dropped, and we kind of see it and go, okay, and just kind of move past it. Whereas for them, you know, there's things that kind of work into their culture, their perspective that we don't see. Like the best way I can describe one dramatic way that to illustrate what I mean is we were hanging out in Harajuku, and that area is amazing because I literally was standing there and I saw suddenly a parade walking down, and I was like, oh, there's a parade. I don't know why. And it was all these kids and teenagers and 20-somethings in these, it was like a cosplay parade, but of their own creations. The fashions were amazing, and I totally understand why so many people make a big deal out of that neighborhood, because they're basically all just trying to show each other up. And there was this huge parade of just these amazing outfits, and the queen of the parade was this woman dressed as Maleficent, and just walking down the street, and everyone was, all these little Lolitas were attending her, and all this, like, I mean, I don't have the language that everybody would probably, who's listening, would be able to describe everything, but it was just amazing. And I was like, what was, and I turned to our translator and I was like, what's the occasion? And they're like, oh no, they just do this. And I'm like, fuck yeah, do this, that's awesome. So then, like, they were like, do you want to see like some of the shops? And I was like, yeah. And so they walked us over, and I was like, oh great, here's a punk rock shop. And I was like, okay. And we walk in, and it was basically like, it was a Japanese Hot Topic, you know, but yeah, it was really interesting because it was all just like, we sell all the things that you could possibly imagine for punks, like the little plaid skirts and the cuffs and the hats and the leather jackets and the tight pants. So I'm like walking around, and it was really cool, and we're all like, oh, okay, yeah, and it's nothing we haven't seen before, but it's kind of cool because it's in Japan. And then we turn I turn this corner down an aisle, and I'm like, oh my. I turned down the swastika aisle. Like, and it's all punk rock gear covered in swastikas. And I was like, huh, yeah, okay. Hey, anybody want to take a look at aisle 9? Did you guys see this one yet? Because this is crazy. And it was really funny because then our guide came over, and she walked over and she was like, oh yeah, okay, I should explain this. This symbol doesn't quite have the connotation here that it has in America. They see it as more rebellious. I mean, remember, we were allies during the war, and the Holocaust and that stuff doesn't really like play into, I mean, it's talked about for historians, but it's not really in the consciousness, and it's mostly identified as being a rebellious punk rock thing to do. And I was like, yes, clearly, from the amount of things that are all over here. Like, there's that plaid skirt with a swastika on the front. Right. You know, and who can't imagine going without the wallet chain swastika? Like, I mean, it was just like, I was like, oh my God. And like, but for them, they didn't really, it wasn't like, they weren't trying to be offensive. They weren't trying to be shitty. It wasn't a Nazi store. It's a different culture. Yeah, it was just a different perspective completely. And you have to be able to be open and aware of that they're processing things in a little bit of a different way. So like,
treat everything with a nuance. Yeah,
and I mean, yes, you know, you watch some of these and you see those lights where they're like, she can't help that she's 27 and not married. I think that was one of the kitty cat ones on my Hero Academia, and I was like, what? Did we bother to translate that sentence for American audiences? Yeah. Like, we couldn't have said like, she can't help it if she's lonely. You couldn't have done that version, you know? It's like, but it was just sort of funny because it's like, I think they don't really, you know, there's a holdovers from culture, and you just kind of have to take it in stride that those exist. I mean, there's a limit to that, but there are some of those things. It was just like amazing. I just can't even explain what it's like to like turn a corner and be like, oh my God, swastika are us. Look at this. This is crazy.
Well, it's really interesting that you say that too, because like over in Asia, there's the manji symbol, which is a swastika, but it's turned the other way and it's a square. And
I know about that. That was not these.
Yeah, no, these were like straight up Nazi symbols.
Yeah, and I mean, like the swastika, if we go back down to what it actually means, like it was perverted by the Nazis. It had a much different meaning in many cultures than it can be obviously taken out of context. These were not those things. But I mean, at the same time, it's a fascinating culture, and it's an amazing group of people. And I've had people come up to us going like, you know, you think it's right that you call your band Tsunami Bomb? And I was like, well, I mean, that's the name for the wave, but I mean, you know. I mean, tidal wave bomb I could have gone with, but it's really actually called a tsunami globally. And But I mean, they loved it. They were like, "Oh, that's awesome!" And I got all excited going out there because I was like, "Oh, we're gonna make some kanji shirts. We're gonna actually have T-shirts with our name in Japanese." I was like, "I'm so excited!" And then the guides and the people that were gonna help us with the tour were like, "No, don't do that. They'd rather the English words. They think that's cooler."
Yo, in Japan, they love English words.
Yeah, as much as we love kanji, they love looking, like, for the same effect that kanji has on us when we look at something and like, look how cool that looks. They have the same effect with English words. They're like, "Oh, that looks so cool."
Like there's actually, sorry, hold up. No. There's actually a meme going around. I saw this like years ago, and it's like a split picture. One side it says America, and the other side says Japan, and the American side has kanji, and then the Japanese side has like the English word that like it's like bread or something like that.
Yeah, bread. Yeah. Exactly. It's 100%. It's so obviously like that, and it's just you just kind of have to take, like I said, you just have to kind of take certain things in stride and realize that there's different perspectives on stuff, and that could easily be offensive or off-putting. Right. But like, I always find it interesting how often like they show characters sobbing and crying in anime, like just falling to pieces, and I'm like, they're actually a really stoic people in real life.
Right.
Unless they get wasted, you don't really see too many Japanese like have like public breakdowns. They have like a very, generally speaking, I'm not speaking for individuals, but generally speaking, they tend to pride themselves on their reserve, which that doesn't mean they don't feel emotions, which is why I think they pour their emotions into the pieces that they make, and you see these really emotive, heavy moments. But yeah, like watching Tokyo Ghoul and just seeing like the kid cry and cry and cry. I was like, okay, like how many commercials are we going to hit before he recognizes he's now half ghoul and this is his reality? Can we move on? I mean, I feel like the manga, he didn't cry this much. So
yeah, like I'm reading a manga right now called Tokyo Revengers, and actually the actual title of it, the way it's supposed to be printed, is Tokyo, and it has the manji symbol in the middle, Revengers, because it's about a delinquent gang, and they're called Toman, which is Tokyo Manji. And they have that swastika on the back of their biker gang shirts. And not in a diamond shape, but in a square shape. And it was funny because me and a guy named Noxie from Project Manga Podcast, who's been getting me to read a shit ton of manga right now.
Finally.
He was like, okay, shut up. He is like,
the shade.
Sorry, I'm the big manga gal of the podcast.
Yeah,
I have like
much.
A full blown collection right behind me.
Sam, I'm all.
But yeah, he was like, we
stuff.
should cosplay as these, and I'm like, people are gonna take it the wrong way, and
For
not
sure.
because we know it's the wrong, like it's not because we think that, but it's because normies, not non-weebs.
Yeah, well, there's definitely connotations to certain things that certain statements and certain realities will have a certain cultural weight in one culture than it does in another, and it's important to keep that in mind. But
yeah, I definitely don't want to put anyone off. But like, I told him too. I was like, dude, let's just get the jackets and just cover that part, so it'll just say Toman on it. You know what I mean? Like, I love that manga. You should read it. Oh my god,
I'll take a look at it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Tokyo
Revengers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I think your thing says read Tokyo Revengers when I look.
Yeah, my little Discord status. Yeah, it says read
So, all right, I won't forget that. That's right there. All right.
So, like, obviously, there's a big, with you and Tsunami Bomb, there's a decent intersection of anime and punk rock. At least that's like what you guys did.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of people in the scene that are, a lot of musicians are nerds.
Yeah, for sure.
They really are.
Well, even like the band like Cold Rain, which is like a nu metal kind of group, they just did the opening for Fire Force, or they did the second opening.
Oh, right on. That's
and
cool.
they're a band from Japan,
Lucky.
but the lead singer is actually half American, so like they've done Warped Tour, and they're really popular here. They've been a band since like 2003, which I didn't know until like a year ago. But
one of those 10-year overnight successes.
Yeah. But like no, like Yeah, no, I mean, there's a lot of it. Yeah, like I mean, especially like when I was younger, and I would go into a Hot Topic for whatever reason, or even when I would go to the music store, like at the mall, particular mall I went to, I would go to Hot Topic, and then I would go to this music store called, well, it was Sam Goody at first, and then they turned it into a place called FYE, for your entertainment or whatever. Yeah. They have a huge anime section, and then they have like a huge. They for a while, they don't anymore, but when I was younger, they even had a little small, it was probably like 2 shelves worth, not even that much, of Japanese CDs in the rock section, because I guess it was mostly J-rock. But, you know, even a lot of bands now will have like, you know, like the one we said earlier, See You Space Cowboy, like obviously their band name is a reference to Cowboy Bebop, and like we'll do that kind of thing where they'll reference it. Like even I forgot what band it was. There was a record that came out like in 2012 or something. I think it was a Muir. Like they had a whole record dedicated to like Street Fighter and Marvel vs. Capcom. Like
that's pretty funny. But I mean, this has been happening for a while. Like not necessarily anime, but I mean, like even Led Zeppelin. There's so many references to The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings in their songs, and I mean. I think there's always, you have to remember the people who, so if you're sitting there looking at the stage and you see somebody who is just incredible at their instrument, playing up and down and just killing it, right? And you see this whole band, that's a group of people that had no friends. Like you don't put in that level of effort when you have a lot to do in a high social life. Like that level of effort comes from people who were awkward and nerdy and had time to devote themselves to an instrument and learn it and practice it. And I tend to find that those people also like the same stuff. I right now, like I just saw something where everybody's freaking out that Henry Cavill, not only, you know, was he into The Witcher, you know, and like everyone was like shocked that he'd love those books, but he's like apparently painting his own Warhammer army, and they're like, how does this happen? And it's like, because they're nerds. Like, yeah, okay, he works out and he's super hot and then he played Superman, but he's still a nerd, you know. I mean, like that's who these people that's who we all are. I mean, not all of us, but I mean there's enough of us. So yeah, I definitely would say that. And I mean, you know, I think that I remember that I was introduced to anime in the first place by my punk rock friends. They're the ones that showed me an early VHS of Akira with a terrible original English translation that made no sense with that movie. But I mean, it was like, I was just blown away, you know, and then I remember trying to find like, you know, old Robotech episodes because they were showing them out of order, and I didn't get to see that show in order until it was out on Google Google Play, or you know, on Amazon. It was on Amazon
streaming
Prime.
Kind of when
it
like
came
a
out,
streaming service,
and I could watch it in order, and then found out like it was actually 3 different shows merged into one for Americans. That made no sense, but
well, that's what that's what happened back then, because you know, in the late 80s and 90s, you know, these translation companies would look at these shows and be all like, what is this? Okay, this is for kids. So, like, for example, Sailor Moon. There are 2 characters, Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune, who they're lovers. And Sailor Uranus actually is a man when she's not in like her sailor uniform, and it's the same thing with the Sailor Starlights. They're men when they're quote unquote humans, and then when they transform, they're women. Yeah,
they're like gender non-conforming.
That's amazing. Yeah. Did not know that, but amazing. Go on.
Yeah.
Well, like when they translated it, they made Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune cousins instead.
So they made it. Like, and they made it worse.
Yeah, it's like, but that's incest. Because America was like, you know, anti-gay, you know, so it was like, oh, can't have homosexuality on TV. Let's make them cousins.
So exhausting. It must take so much work to just, like, it's so much more work just to be hateful and scared of
the
these
mental
things. If you
gymnastics.
just like relax and just let it go. Just let it go.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
But of course, back then, like in the 80s and 90s, the old 50s people were still running like, oh, we got to have this and that, blah, blah, blah.
No, you're right. You're right. But I mean,
no.
even back then, I mean, you say back then, like, look at what's happened in more modern times. Like Young Justice, when that series was incredibly popular, they canceled it because it was popular to young women and they don't buy toys. And then
love that show.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Like, I buy toys.
Yeah, but they weren't thinking like that. Or like the reason Black Widow didn't get a movie for years was because one guy, I think it was Bob Iger, I want to say, it was like one guy at Disney was like, no, I don't think, what's the point? Like, nobody's going to want to buy, nobody's going to care about a woman hero and, like the toys.
And then
for
look
a
at
woman.
DC, they fucking made Wonder Woman, and that was like a huge success.
That's like their best one.
Like,
It's like finally Scarlett Johansson's character had to die in the cinema for her to basically get a movie finally, which is good that she's finally getting it, because I think that there should have been a Black Widow movie years ago. But then also Disney again. I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Force Awakens came out originally, a bunch of toys came out and you couldn't get a Rey figure.
Yeah,
that's
you
right.
couldn't.
I remember that. Yeah.
She was the star of the movie, and you could get her in a Lego set, and you can get her in a set, like a larger set, like with others, but they didn't have Rey figures, and people noticed. They were like, what are you doing? She's the star of the movie.
Yeah.
And boys wanted to play with her just as much as her figure is like, and girls wanted to play with it was just so behind the times. So we can sit there and say about the 80s, but like we've only just in the last 5 years started shifting a little bit
Absolutely.
now away
Thank you
from
for
these
saying
kind of
that.
decisions, and it's been just a nightmare. Well, no, it's true. It's just, I mean, it's it's better. It's not there yet, but it's better. I mean, it's in the music scene too. It's like back when we started, like there were hardly any bands that had women in them, and the girls were I call them girls because they're my girls. They're like my little sisters. But like the women in my band were, routinely confused for being like girlfriends or not in the band.
Person.
Yeah, they would constantly. It was a constant situation, and then now it's so much better because there's so many more women playing. But then we find that when we get put on festivals, we'll get put on a stage and we'll look at the stage and it's almost all women-fronted bands. It's like, did you just put them all on one stage? That's the answer? You didn't like scatter them throughout? Like, don't get me wrong, these are great, but like, did you just make a women's stage and put everybody here? Like, that's not necessary.
Right.
So it's like, it's better. At least it's happening, but it's like, there's still like, kind of like some of the animes, there's still subtle little moments that you're like, what are you doing? But at least it's, it's improving. There are signs that it's improving so much more.
Yeah. And I feel like Carol and Tuesday is definitely something that is a revolutionary kind of show because it focuses on two women who are trying to make it in
That's awesome.
the music industry on Mars, who is like surrounded by AIs who are making the music and stuff like that.
I love this. This idea is great. Like, this is like right up my alley.
It's awesome. Another show that I love and that Sam needs to fucking watch is called Nana.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's on my plan to watch.
Yeah, and that one it's a music show, but both of the main characters, one is in a band and the other one isn't. The other one, she's kind of the band, the vocalist's roommate and stuff. So, and it's kind of about like their story and how, and they're both named Nana. So
this is Nana, Nana, or
Nana, yeah.
I love how Dominic's just writing everything down.
I am. I'm gonna go watch this stuff.
Good.
I made a list.
It's so good, and not only that, but Nana, it's the music in it is punk. It's like it's a lot of like heavy guitars and drums.
Oh, why didn't you say that to me to
everything.
begin with? I would have watched it earlier. What the hell?
Bitch, just by the fucking title alone and how Nana, like the vocalist, how she looks, should have like draw you in.
That's true.
She's like
Googling this
me.
now. Ooh.
Oh, it's
Googling this
great.
right
The manga is just as good. There's like a shit ton of volumes, although and unfortunately the manga is not finished because the mangaka artist she has been sick for a while, and there have been like Reddit rumors that she's trying to get back into writing it, but she hasn't found like good material or something like that. I can't remember. But it's amazing and I absolutely love it. So
Oh, don't
Yeah,
check
watch
it out.
it.
Not okay.
Yeah.
I will watch that.
Where do you watch it? What service are you watching now?
So Nana, it used to be on Netflix, but it's not anymore. I think you can find it on Prime, but you would have to pay for it. So
Oh, yeah, Amazon,
you would have to rely on other sources.
Quote unquote.
The internet.
Yes, I love how you said that. That was the best way. That was a very well practiced. Like you'll have to rely on those sources. I have never seen you in real life, but I picture you like Austin Powers, kind of looking into the camera and be like, while you're talking into your mic, like other sources. That's what I picture.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. I'll take that.
But looking like this Nana character that I'm looking at now, you look like that, but you're like going,
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I'm a little short punk ass girl with like fucking tattoos and everything like that. So.
Yeah, that's why. Like that's another reason why Nick probably would have hated this episode because he is not that way at all. Like it's like me and Danny were the scene bitches or the punk bitches.
That's awesome.
In our
I have to say I am the most colorful out of all three of us.
Oh,
I
no,
actually
I like
used to have. I used
like
to
my
have
black
like, a lot
hair,
of colored
okay?
hair.
Mm-hmm.
Black hair is where it's at. I don't keep my hair black. All right.
So we have So we have a rainbow punk and we have a little goth punk here. All right, I get it.
Heck
Awesome.
Like everything I own is pretty much black. Yeah. Well, because I'm Mexican and Asian, so like my hair is naturally black, so it's just like it's perfect. I just leave it. Just leave it. God, stop touching it.
Perfect.
Bitch.
No, it's awesome. That's so cool. Like I think it's great that you guys are doing this show and like talking about this stuff. But I am curious as to if the one who isn't here doesn't cover, like, what does he cover? What is his?
He's a fucking troll.
I see. Perfect. So everybody's represented. There we go.
Sam definitely likes a lot of the action-packed shonen shows. I'm definitely the colorful romantic. I even like the sports anime as well. Mm-hmm. So I definitely like more of the girly. I hate to use the word, but it's the only word that I can think of. Right. I definitely like the romance girly stuff. Mm-hmm. And Nick, he's kind of like the neutral. Like he'll watch anything, but he'll literally shit on every single thing that I talk about.
But also on the other side of that coin, he will, if he hates a show, he'll slag through to watch it just to watch it.
Yeah.
Like he'll torture himself. And like we often tell him, like, dude, just calm down. Like you don't have to finish it. He's like, no, I'm on episode 10. It's like, oh my god. Like
we had to delay our winter, like our final winter impression. For all like the seasonals that came out,
because he was trying to finish.
He was trying to finish, and he was because he works still, so because his job is still considered an essential, and he's all like, guys, can we like record on a Wednesday? And like here we are, it's Wednesday, and he's all like, I'm gonna need more time, and it's like, dude, come on, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Nick.
Well, I am glad that you guys took the time to talk to me. I'm enjoying this immensely. So
no, it's amazing, dude. Like, and I love that we got to talk about music a little bit too, because people have been asking. People have been like, so our patrons too, because we have a Patreon. Patrons have been like, Sam, you should do a music episode because you talk about music a lot. I'm like, okay, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'll get a guest. I don't know.
Well, let me ask this then. What is your favorite? What show do you guys think has the best music? Now, I didn't say soundtrack, and I didn't say necessary because that's one thing to have an orchestrated soundtrack, but then it's another thing to have what songs they choose for their intro songs and outro songs every season. Like, what overall, just a good general, like, if you were to tell me, I'm going, hey, what's good, what one picks, like, really great songs? Yeah. Right? There we go.
Yeah. Shit.
That could be what we
like,
can think about.
Are we talking about anything, or are you talking about, like, more themed focus shows that focus around music?
No, I was just actually anything. Like, anything that,
In
like,
general?
when I say, like, what's good, what show has some great music? Like, and when I say that to you, is there some shows that come to mind? Doesn't have to be your favorite.
For sure, for me, there are definitely a couple, like, from beginning to end, would have to be the Vision of Escafone, including the movie as well.
Nice.
It's a lot of opera going on in that show, especially during the battle scenes and stuff. So it's fantastic, and I can actually listen to that music anytime I'm reading, like a medieval manga, like Goblin Slayer or something like that. It's the perfect music to do that. Another show that I feel that chose really amazing music, and it is actually a music themed show, which is called Kids on the Slope. And this show actually made my top 10 in our top 50 decade episode that we did like 2 weeks ago.
Oh wow.
Our 2010s, decade.
Of our 2010s decade. So, and I actually watched this in one day before we decided to record, and it really made it that high in my list. And it's based in the late 1960s in Japan, and it's about jazz. So, and there's this delinquent, and he drums, and just how they have the drummer meet this pianist who was all about classical music, and he developed, and his character development into jazz and composing music with this delinquent drummer and everything. And they actually use they mention real life jazz players from America and stuff like that, which is really amazing too. And I love it when especially an anime does that. Carolyn Tuesday, each episode is titled from a song. Who I think there's a couple of Cyndi Lauper songs that were titled of the episodes and everything like that.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, it's amazing. But I really liked Kids on the Slope for sure. So from like the opening theme to the ending theme, everything was just amazing in that.
So cool.
Dude, for me, Fooly Cooly. You ever see Fooly Cooly?
Oh yeah, Fooly Cooly.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, dude, that's like the
You would
ultimate
like that.
punk rock. Yeah, like you especially would love it. Like, it's only 6 episodes. There is 2 other seasons they did after that recently, which I wouldn't watch those, to be honest.
Really
yeah,
didn't
they're not
really
very good.
like need to be there, but
it doesn't have an opening theme. The show, it just starts and it has an ending theme, but all the music in it is powered by the punk rock band The Pillows.
Okay.
And one of the main characters, Haruko, who's like actually I won't say what she is because it'll spoil it, but her weapon is a Rickenbacker.
Oh, that's
bass.
sick.
Yeah. So
I always wanted
and
one
then
of those just to have.
They're so expensive. I want one so bad, but they're so expensive.
I know. I have a bunch of bases. That's not one of them though, and that's one of the ones.
Yeah. The problem with my bass collection is that a Rickenbacker's not in it. But
Does it go by FLCL? Is that how it
Yes.
goes by? Okay.
Yep, FLCL. And like she pulls another bass like out of the other main character's head, and it's a flying V bass, which is really cool. And then later you see like an EB0, the 60s, the 1961 model EB0.
That's cool. So somebody definitely knew their guitars going into this.
Yeah,
For sure.
It was sweet. That and like I don't know, I could tell you. I'll tell
Cowboy
you right
Bebop
now.
had a really good track because Yoko Kanno actually formed the band that played the music in Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, that's right.
That's
it's like she like formed a whole ass band for that, which is super sweet.
She's God in all music
And
for anime. She also composed the music for Escaflowne as well.
that's right,
So-
she did. I can tell you what animes made me go like. When I heard the opening theme, I went and downloaded
Nuts.
the discography of that band. Parasite was one of them. The band Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, like they did the opening, and I love that opening. Like you're watching
Definitely.
Parasite right now, right?
Yeah, it's very screamo.
Yeah.
Very screamo.
It's
It's like I immediately went like, okay, I know what year this came out.
yeah, you're like, okay, I get it. It's gonna be serious. The band Survive Said the Prophet did the first opening for Vinland Saga, which you should watch that too. That's on Amazon Prime. It's a great anime.
Oh yeah.
And
I've been writing down a lot of these titles, so
You came to the right people for a lot of recommendations.
I'm so glad I got to Dominic Davi before any other anime podcast.
I'm just sitting there like waiting for somebody to make these connections. Okay, like, anyone want to talk to me about this stuff? I'm down. I'm ready. I got notes. Let's do this. But no, I'm always looking for new stuff. So
What? So are you reading any manga right now too, or not yet? Not really.
yeah,
Because I know you're really into comics.
yeah, I am. I've made comics. I'm working on a new book right now of my own. It's not done in an anime style, unless a manga style. It's done in my style, so whatever that leads. But yeah, like one of the things I'm reading currently right now is the Demon Slayer.
That's right. You
no
said that.
Yaiba.
Yep, that's right.
I've been reading. I do read My Hero Academia. I just picked up a bunch of the Usagi Yojimbo saga that I've never read, and I've always wanted to. Yeah, I read all the Goblin Slayers, the series.
Usagi Yojimbo.
Yeah, and then I've been reading JoJo's Great Adventure.
Oh, JoJo.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. If Nick was here, he would.
Yeah, he would be like, oh.
That's his thing.
Yeah, I picked up the
loves-
first book. Been reading One Punch Man. Definitely enjoying that. I'm like scrolling through like my comicsology right now, going, okay, what else have I been looking through?
Yeah.
I picked up Corpse Princess because I started watching that anime. Actually, I just started watching that. And I've been like rereading the old Appleseeds just because it's been years since I read them.
Yes, dude.
Yeah.
Yes, dude.
'Cause
I,
I used to
love
read those
Appleseed.
all the time when I was a kid. Like that was like my series, but like I've been
Bolieris
reading
and,
it again. Yeah, I love that. And the Ghost in the Shell series I loved like crazy too. That was one that I loved that
yeah.
back. I got a Dark Horse edition of it.
No way.
Back in the 90s, so I still have that.
When Dark
edition.
Horse was like bringing manga over here. Yeah, that's
who I was
crazy
buying
rare.
from. That's who I was buying from. So I have those. I have a bunch of the Dark Horse books. Those were what I was reading when I started Tsunami Bomb when I was like younger.
Damn.
Yeah.
So have you read Hellsing as well, or haven't you?
I have read that.
That's such a Tsunami Bomb thing. That's such a Dominic thing. Like
Yeah.
Helsing. Yeah. Hell yeah, dude.
yeah. I'm a little.
Sayus Victoria. She's fine.
Yeah. If you have something that's like slightly dark at all, I'm in for it. I'm there. And I
Have
like.
you
like Flynn.
have you ever read or even seen Death Note?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
went through
Just
all
making
that.
sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Did you
love
watch
Death
the
Note.
live action movie?
I didn't watch.
Oh my
the
god,
live-
don't.
Yeah, is it bad?
Don't.
Is it bad?
It's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh, that's too
even
bad.
even fucking William Dafoe couldn't even save that shit.
Oh, that's too bad.
Oh man.
I
That was
watched-
bad.
Oh, I was reading a Jin Demi-Human. and I was reading. And I have
the Netflix one.
What is it? The Barnes and Noble editions of they have these big collections of Tokyo Ghoul. I've been reading. I picked up those, and I really like those because he's not crying so much in the manga. I felt like when I watched the anime, he's just
not so much of an emo kid.
Oh my God. I'm sensitive as anyone else, and I understand that he has ghoul parts now, and that's a tough. You're going to be eating some things, and you're not going to enjoy, like becoming a cannibal. Like that's a thing. Okay, I get it. You're a little upset, but I feel like those first few episodes of the anime, I'm just sitting there like just. I feel like somebody walking in is like, "What are you just watching? Some little boy cry in animation?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's what we're watching. Dude. We're waiting for it." I don't mind emotion. Can we get to the part where he understands that this is what's happening? But like I said, Death Note. I loved that. That was great. Yeah, I'm a big fan of stuff, and I'm willing to try anything. I have a full page of notes of titles and stuff that you guys were rattling off all this whole show, so I'm like,
I'm also gonna tell you to at least watch Haikyuu, which is about volleyball.
Leave the man alone. He's got a lot of stuff he's already watching.
Normally, what I have to admit, I don't tend to gravitate because it's kind of funny watching Crunchyroll and you see these like commercials, like it's like super serious music and it's like dun 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 dun, and they're like people squaring off, and all of a sudden like they're throwing down stuff, and I was like, are they playing Magic? What the hell are they playing? And it's like it's a card game. Epic. Yeah, and it's like so like it's a high school club that plays cards, and I was like, I'm not watching that. Like I'm drawing a line. I draw a line. Like, I'm not doing it. I'm not in. No, I don't. What?
Oh, but it's so good, though.
Is it? Oh, my God.
Haikyuu? Yes, for sure.
Right,
I've gotten, like...
For you, I will look at Haikyuu.
Oh, awesome. I feel so honored. And I'm not even being sarcastic. I may sound sarcastic, but I'm really not.
That's a good way to be. I like that. Like, not even being sarcastic, but I am sarcastic right now.
My tone may sound like that, but it's really not.
I know I have resting bitch voice.
That must make your relationships really interesting. Like, oh yeah, you love me? Okay.
No, for real.
But no, I'm reacting to that. It's okay that you love me. My voice just sounds like that. Oh, you like that show? Okay. Great.
Really not gonna lie, because that's how Sam and our relationship between me and Sam are. Literally, really? It's so funny.
You're just slobbing shade at him all the time.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah,
oh.
Yeah.
She'll do this thing where I'll say something to her. And I'm like, bitch. Like, hold on a second, and she'll just like, like, she'll do
I'm like, okay, sure.
You think you're cute. Cool.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude. Oh my God, Dominic Davi, I can't believe you came on our podcast. It's so amazing.
Thank you for having me. It's been great. I really appreciate it.
If you ever want to talk anime, like, down to clown.
Hey.
That tone says all like, I always want to talk about anime.
Yeah. Anytime I could be another. Anytime I can weigh in, I'm happy to do it. Just let me know.
That's amazing, man. Thank you so much, dude.
That'd be awesome.
Really quick, tell people where they can find it, because you're not only in a punk rock band and a nerd, but obviously you are all kinds of other, mediums of art. You're making a comic right now. You have art. You do art for a lot of your merch and stuff too.
Mm-hmm.
And for Crunchyroll, obviously, which is fucking amazing, which I did not know. That's fucking awesome. So tell people where they can find your art and everything else.
Well, you can find the band at tsunamibomb.net or on any of the social media. It's all over the place. Definitely check it out. We have a brand new album called The Spine That Binds. It's out now, and it's out everywhere. So I'm really proud of that. You can see my artwork. I have a site called, you can see it at dominicdavi.com, or if it's easier, you can go to the store at thedinosaurfactory.com. And you can find a lot of my art at the Dinosaur Factory on any social media, Instagram, Facebook. And then I'm a host of a bunch of podcasts. I host a podcast called 3 Gigs, where I talk to different performers about their first, best, and worst performances of all time.
Nice.
Yeah, and that I just brought that show back, and we've done 2 episodes this week. I brought out Brenna Red from The Last Gang. It's a band on Fat Records, and they're great. And then last week was Libby Lux from Bridge City Sinners. And so it's just like I sit down and we just have a conversation about the adventures of being on the road and playing and starting a band and having that great moment and then having a terrible moment. But I've talked to other performers too, not just musicians.
Sure, yeah.
I have a horror podcast called Monster Candy Podcast where we talk about cool geeky movies. And
I'm telling Trisha about
going
that.
on that.
My partner loves that. Yeah, she'll be all about
it's
that.
It's an interesting combination of personalities on that one to be sure. But I'm really also about to release a podcast. We're working on it now. It's called Fearless Movie Killers, and basically we cover different horror movies that everybody loves and we tell you why they're stupid. Like point out everything
that is
that's
amazing.
terrible and dumb and why everybody's crazy for loving this movie. And the first 3 episodes.
Why did he go into the house?
Yeah, no, exactly. We talk about.
I could totally do that. I mean, I don't like scary movies, but I can be all like, why did he go in there? Like, is he stupid? Like,
yeah, we get a different group of comedians and horror fans and musicians and different people, and we tackle a different movie each time in a discussion. And the first 3 episodes are going to be Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street, specifically talking about, like, wait, hold on. Like, and it's just like pointing out like everything that's like, the logic gaps, the plot holes, the ridiculousness, and it's like I expect to get a lot of like angry emails for this. Like I expect to get some crap from it. That hasn't launched yet, but it's about to launch, and you can find Fearless Movie Killers on all the social media. So Monster Candy Podcast, Fearless Movie Killers, and 3 Gigs are the podcasts I do. Tsunami Bomb is the band I do, and then my art is at the Dinosaur Factory.
Okay,
Nice.
and just in case Dominic didn't convince you, your girl right here is going to convince you. Tsunami Bomb is the shit, and you should listen to them right now. Like, don't even turn off this podcast right now and go, what are you still doing here? Go.
Maybe they're just being polite.
Go to the band camp. Or go to Tentacle Alternative Tentacle Records and order, just download all of it right now.
I would certainly appreciate that. You can open another window. You don't even have to end. You could just keep going. Open another window.
Oh yeah, we're in the future. You open a new tab. Yeah.
Yeah,
oh my God.
open a new tab. Go for it.
We're like in 3000 right now. Holy shit.
Multitask. And if you feel like the challenge to take the new, what I'm calling now the Tsunami Bomb Challenge, you can literally silence the beginning of any anime and put a Tsunami Bomb song and watch it fit.
oh my God.
I'll take that challenge. I'll take that. I know all these songs. Oh my God, I'm doing it right now.
I suggest the darker, more epic ones rather than, I can't promise that like some of the poppier ones will, but some of them will.
Dude, I used to
Depends on the
download
show.
Tsunami Bomb anime music videos. Remember AMV.org? People would make their own
Oh
anime
yeah,
music.
I remember that.
I used to download Tsunami Bomb ones all the time. Actually, that's really funny. There was a Fooly Cooly one that used the song Take the Reins. And
That's
it was
a good
like one of my favorite. Yeah, they showed it at the convention I was at like one time that year, which is awesome. And everyone's like, "Oh, who's this band?" I'm like, "It's Tsunami Bomb. What are you, new? God, 2-timing bitch, get out of here!"
We're definitely a cult thing. It's like you kind of know, and then some.
If you know, you know, dude.
Yeah, it's like it's not really like even our best-selling shirt is just the Bomb logo, so it's like it doesn't even say the name because we thought, definitely it's the kind of band that's like people either get it or they don't get it.
Or they don't.
Yeah, and that's
They
kind of
don't
how.
get it, yeah.
We don't really have a lot of casual fans either. Like it's not like people come up and go like, "Yeah, they're okay." It's either like, "I don't know this band, I hate this band," or "I love this band," which is great. You definitely provoke a reaction, but it's like I've never met anyone go like, "Yeah, you guys are okay." There are people going like, "That was great," or it's like, "Nah, I don't like it. I don't like it at all." Nope, I don't like it. I was like, well,
Dude,
thanks for sharing.
oh my God, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
I cannot
thank you.
wait to like listen to all these other pods you're on, and oh my God, dude, this will probably come out sometime. So right now it's April 16th. It'll probably come sometime next week, alongside like our next week's episode. But
let me know. I'll share it
my
everywhere.
God.
So
yeah, dude, I will let you know. I will. Do you want me to message you? I'll message you. You know what? I'll have my people call your people. How about that?
that sounds perfect.
Just so you know, my people
She'll
is a cat.
she'll have Smokey call your people.
My cat, Smokey. Yeah.
I was gonna say, is that the cat? Am I gonna get called from the cat? I'm gonna get hit up. I'm gonna get IM from a cat.
We fire Smokey all the time. He's our producer and everything for our podcast, and we
He
fire
didn't
him
even
and
stutter.
hire
He was like, "Is that the cat?"
Is that the cat? It's the cat. I was gonna see a bunch of letters like just all smashed in as if like the cat walked on the keyboard, and I'm like, yeah,
gotcha.
yeah. I was like, then I'll just react to it. I'll be like, all right, tell Sam that I'm ready whenever.
Oh man! All right. Thank you so much again, Dominic. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
We love you. That being said, I've been Sam. That's been Danny. That's Dominic Davi from Tsunami Bomb, and this has been the Anime Summit Podcast.